Right now at 6, the first big storm of the season slams the Cascades.
This year is it's unique, you know. We haven't seen a dump like this in probably 5 years.
How much snow is still to come and where the wind threat is now ramping up.
Plus, an evening out at a Northeast Portland bar turns tragic.
Got to spend every day with him. He is such a good man.
What we're learning about the man who died and the person accused of stabbing him.
And why patients at a downtown health clinic that's been here for more than a century will now have to travel farther for care.
I think it's a tragedy that they're closing the building down because of it.
First at 6, we want to get right to breaking news coming into us from Gresham, where police are asking people in one neighborhood to shelter in place. That is after authorities say a suspect they describe as violent and armed ran from police as they tried to arrest him on an outstanding warrant.
This is all happening near Northeast Halsey and 195th, not far from Reynolds Middle School. Police have closed off some streets in the area and say if you see anything suspicious, call 911 immediately. We'll keep you updated as we learn more.
It's hailing. Good Lord.
No kidding. We continue on a cold and wet Monday night in the valley with hail falling in a number of spots earlier this evening around the Portland metro. Right now, it is a chilly 43 degrees in the Rose City with heavy snow hitting the Cascades and coast ranges, and things about to get very windy along the coast.
We've got team live coverage this evening with meteorologist Joe Ranieri in Government Camp, where the snow has been falling all day long. But first to our chief meteorologist, Matt Zaffino, who's tracking the storm. So Matt, we're talking wild weather pretty much all over the area.
Yeah, certainly are, Christine. This is that storm that dropped the hail as it cruised across downtown Portland. We captured it in time lapse, and you can see those bands of rain, and then right here you're going to get a shaft of hail cruising across towards the very, very end here. There it goes right there, right on through. So turned much of the downtown area white for a little bit before, of course, the hail melted away. Now, we're turning our attention, and there's a lot to keep our attention on before this, but we're turning our attention to about 24 hours from now, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. We've got a wind advisory for the valley, so we're calling that time frame a weather impact alert time. Possibly we get some tree limbs coming down, and that could, of course, cause some power outages. You want to secure loose objects around your home if you can so they don't blow away. Again, wind advisory beginning at 4 o'clock Tuesday. High wind warning on the Oregon coast where the gusts will be even stronger. All the while, the winter storm warning continues for a few more hours in the Cascades. Then it'll quickly be replaced by a winter weather advisory because the snow is going to keep falling. Now, you can watch on the radar loop here how that storm moved through downtown Portland, and this is new. Very heavy rain in the northwest corner of Multnomah County right now. That's the next band that's moving on in. Now, we're not getting any lightning strikes in the valley from that. Did produce some at the coast earlier, but again, heavy rain northern Multnomah County, and that's going to move into Clark County in about 20-30 minutes or so. Meanwhile, up in Timberline, how about that? 27 inches of new snow since noon yesterday. Pretty impressive, and a lot more snow on the way in the week ahead. And then we have to talk about the bomb cyclone that's producing that wind tomorrow night. We'll do that in a bit, guys.
Yeah, so much to talk about. Also, not a bad start to the ski season at all. Definitely impressive numbers for the Cascades.
Yeah, speaking of that, let's jump up to Government Camp and Joe Ranieri. So, Joe, how are things looking and feeling where you are?
Well, it's feeling cold, David and Christine, but again, it's impressive and healthy, too, in terms of the snowfall amounts. For, mid-November, about a foot of snow has fallen in the last 24 hours. And think back yesterday, I talked with some people up here who were saying that, it was just raining a good portion of the day. But once that cold front moved on shore, things changed pretty quickly. We've been seeing some drier conditions out here so far today, but again, it's been pretty chilly at times. But again, a lot of people are enjoying the snow up here, especially in the ski resorts area. But if you're be traveling through this area, be prepared for some snow-covered roads. Again, that winter storm warning is still in effect throughout about 10 o'clock tonight. Now, if you're going to be driving through the mountain passes, you will need to have chains or traction tires. Now, that requirement starts around Zigzag. Once you climb up to the Government Camp area, all roads are pretty much snow-covered. Seeing this much snow is a welcome sight at Government Camp, considering they don't see this much snow until at least the later part of December, if not the earlier part of the new year.
I follow the weather, but some years the La Nina weather pattern is really good for us, and this year looks to be one of those years.
Yeah, no kidding. It's been very good up in the higher elevations where the ski resorts are at. But again, this is the most significant snow we've seen throughout all of the Oregon Cascades and part of the Washington Cascades as well, and all the way into the Coast Range. Now, if you're traveling over the Coast Range, that's one thing we haven't had a chance to touch much on here. You're going to be seeing a snow level of about 2,500 feet, several inches of snow in the higher elevations. Again, the peak you're going to be traveling over the Coast Range to get to the coast will be about 1,500 feet, but still expect to see some slick areas at times, especially with the temperatures starting to drop. And again, so far there haven't been any major issues along Highway 26 this afternoon or tonight. But again, ODOT is prepared to close this section of Highway 26 if the snowfall is so heavy that they can't keep up with the plows. But so far that hasn't been the case today. David and Christine, back to you.
Yeah, thank you for giving us a look at the conditions up there. Thank you, Joe. A lot is going on, right? So stay with us for the very latest on this stormy weather for the forecast and how your area will be impacted. Check KGW.com and download the KGW app.
Now at 6, a Washington County judge has denied KGW's request to unseal court documents related to the murder of Beaverton nurse Melissa Jubain.
Investigative reporter Kyle Aboshi is in the newsroom for us. Kyle, both prosecutors and defense lawyers argued those details should remain under wraps because it's an active investigation. So walk us through how it all unfolded.
Right. Well, the judge granted a hearing on our request to unseal documents in this high-profile case after I submitted a letter to the court last month. I argued the public should have access to these records and that the Oregon Constitution provides that no court shall be secret. Washington County Judge Rebecca Guptill denied that request today after hearing from all parties, including a lawyer representing KGW. Judge Guptill ruled unsealing the documents would interfere with the investigation and deprive the defendant, Bryce Schubert, of fair trial. The 27-year-old is charged with murder, kidnapping, and abuse of a corpse for allegedly killing his neighbor, Melissa Jubain. On September 4th, Jubain didn't show up at Providence St. Vincent, where she works as a nurse. Little is known about what happened because a judge agreed to seal court documents.
This case is under a very, very active investigation. Just last week, I believe, the Beaverton police executed yet another search warrant in this matter.
That prosecutor went on to suggest there could be superseding indictments or additional defendants could be charged in this case. The defense agreed it is an active investigation. Schubert is being held in the Washington County Jail. A trial date has been set for September 9th, 2025.
Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate the update there. In your headlines, a fire captain in Lane County has been relieved of duty after he was indicted and arrested on child luring charges in Hood River County. Deputies there say they arrested 54-year-old Darren Hauk of Cottage Grove last week, it appears, as part of a sting operation. South Lane County Fire and Rescue said Hauk was with that department for 17 years.
Governor Tina Kotek says Oregon will have a stockpile of the abortion drug mifepristone that'll last almost until the next presidential election. The drug is used in nearly 2/3 of all abortions, and back in June, the Supreme Court ruled against abortion opponents who were trying to remove FDA approval of the drug. But Democrats are worried the incoming Trump administration and Republican Congress will try again to ban the drug nationwide. Governor Kotek says the new supply will be good until September of 2028.
We now know roughly how many Boeing workers in Oregon will be losing their jobs as part of significant company-wide layoffs. According to a warn notice filed with the state, 50 workers at Boeing's Gresham facility will be laid off in mid-January. That is on top of some 2,200 employees in the Seattle area set to lose their jobs next month. Boeing is cutting about 17,000 jobs company-wide.
Students in Albany will again be out of class tomorrow as the teachers' strike stretches into a second week. The teachers' union says more than 20 hours of mediation over the weekend ended with no new agreement. The district says its latest offer includes a 7% raise for all teachers and a 9% raise for senior teachers. More mediation is set for tomorrow. And in St. Helens, classes were also canceled again today at both high schools. The school board chair resigned Friday, and both the superintendent and St. Helens high school principal were placed on leave. A current teacher and a former teacher at St. Helens High were arrested last week, accused of sexually abusing several students. Classes will resume tomorrow.
In Portland today, the man accused of stabbing another man outside a bar Friday night appeared in court to face manslaughter charges after the victim died overnight in the hospital.
Devin Haskins is live outside the Multnomah County Courthouse. Devin, you were inside that courtroom today.
Yeah, it was a pretty standard first court appearance. Abraham Bravo appearing in court and not saying much except for a few words whispered to his lawyer. It only lasted a couple of minutes. He was arrested over the weekend after a fight at a Northeast Portland bar.
Page 20, line 1, Bravo.
At the Multnomah County Justice Center, standing behind the glass, Abraham Bravo charged with a single count each of manslaughter and assault in the first degree. It was late Friday night at the church bar along Northeast Sandy. Police say both Bravo and 31-year-old Samuel Van Dyke got into an altercation. His girlfriend tells us it was over a loud phone call where she says Bravo was being disrespectful to someone on the other end.
You're talking really loud. We're in a public setting. First of all, don't be disrespecting women, and don't do it in front of my lady.
Court documents say Bravo then used a broken glass to stab Van Dyke in the neck. Bravo told police the glass broke when he hit him and that he was scared for his life because he says Van Dyke threatened him. Kaylee Woods, Van Dyke's girlfriend, says it all happened so fast.
I thought it was just going to be a fight, but there was no fight. It was glass breaking, and he got cut right away and started bleeding out.
Woods says Van Dyke leaves behind 2 young children and loved music and dancing.
I'm so blessed, even though the time was so short-lived. I'm so blessed to have lived life with him, lived with him, and got to spend every day with him. He is such a good man.
Back in Multnomah County Court, Abraham Bravo, staying silent behind the glass, can be seen mouthing the words, "I love you," to someone sitting in the courtroom. His friends that showed up in court did decline to comment to us on camera. Abraham Bravo due back in court tomorrow for an extradition hearing. He has a felony warrant out of Nevada for a charge involving tampering with a vehicle. Back to you.
Devin Haskins reporting live for us outside the Multnomah County Courthouse. Thank you, Devin.